3 prompt tips for Claude Fable, Anthropic's smartest AI model ever. And here's the twist. The best prompts for Fable are not what you think. Everything you learned about prompting, the mega prompts, the 14-step instructions, the think step-by-step tricks, all of it just flipped. The prompts that made older models better are actively making Fable worse. In the next few minutes, you'll know exactly why, you'll have the 3 fixes, and you'll have the exact prompts to copy, word for word. Sound familiar? That feeling of doing everything right and getting worse results? Let's make the mess make sense. Tip number 1, give Fable your goal, not the steps. Here's the story that teaches this better than any theory. Picture a content pipeline prompt that took months to fine-tune, 14 different steps, formatting rules, an example for every edge case anyone could think of, the kind of mega prompt people sell in paid communities. Paste it into Claude Fable, hit enter, and wait for the magic. And the output comes back worse. Not garbage, just flat. A little bit worse than the older model it was written for. Which makes no sense, right? Smarter model, same prompt, worse answer. So here's the experiment that cracks it open. Delete 12 of the 14 steps. Leave only 2 lines, the goal and the constraints. Run it again. And that result beats the mega prompt. Clearly, the output is sharper and smarter than months of fine-tuning ever produced, with no rules, no steps, no edge cases spelled out. Here's the big lesson, and I want you to sit with it for a second. Fable is a genius that thinks for itself. When you script every step, you are capping the smartest model on Earth at your own level. You're forcing a better thinker than you to follow your plan, instead of finding a better one. Every step you dictate is a decision you just took away from something smarter than you. And this is not just one person's opinion. Anthropic's own documentation says it straight out. Prompts written for older models usually give too many orders, and those orders make Fable's answers worse. Their official guidance is 3 moves. State your goal, state your constraints, then get out of the way. Why does this work? Because Fable's deep reasoning runs on every single request, automatically. You don't tell it to think harder. You don't tell it to reason step by step. Thinking hard is not a feature you switch on anymore. It's just what the model does, every time, built in. So all those prompt hacks you saved, they're asking Fable to do something it's already doing. Now I know what the control freaks in the room are feeling, because this is the uncomfortable part. With older models, more steps meant more control. That was true. Spelling everything out was how you kept the output on the rails. Fable completely flips that. More steps now means worse output. Less instruction, better results. It feels wrong. Do it anyway. Let me show you bad versus good with the exact prompts. Bad looks like this. Here's what to do. Step 1, Step 2, Step 3, all the way to Step 14. Over-specifying every move. And listen, this is normal. This is how almost everyone prompts today, because that's what worked on Opus and Sonnet. If this is you, you're not behind. You're just running last year's playbook. Good looks like this. Fix the crash on uploads over 100 megs. Keep the change small and add a test. That's it. That's the whole prompt. Same task as the 14-step version. But instead of dictating what you think the fix should be, you're telling Fable what the problem is, giving it 2 constraints. Keep it small, add a test, and trusting it to figure out the rest. The goal and the guardrails, nothing else. Here's the picture to keep in your head. Imagine hiring a Michelin star chef and handing them a microwave manual. That's insulting. Nobody would do that. What you'd actually do is talk to the chef. Here's the kind of food I love. Here's my budget. Those are your constraints. And then you let the chef cook. Same thing here. Let Fable cook. But a short prompt is worthless if Fable doesn't know why you're asking. Which brings us to tip number 2. Give the reason, not the request. Another story. Drop a 40-page report into Fable and type 2 words. Summarize this. What comes back is competent. It's accurate. It's also completely generic. The kind of summary that technically answers the question and helps nobody. You've seen this output. Everyone has. Now add 1 single sentence in front of the request. I'm prepping a 5-minute update for non-technical investors deciding whether to fund our next round. Same report, same model, completely different output. This time, Fable pulls out the 3 statistics an investor would actually care about. It flags the one risk that truly matters, the one that was drowning in the middle of the generic version. And it cuts everything else, because a 5-minute update has no room for everything else. 1 sentence changed the entire result. Here's the lesson. Fable does its best work when it knows why you're asking. When it doesn't know why, it guesses. And when it guesses, it tries to cover everything. That's the problem with generic output. It's not that the model is lazy, it's that it's hedging, trying to serve every possible reason you might have asked. You don't want everything, you want the thing you need done. So tell it what that thing is for. And you don't have to invent this from scratch because Anthropic released an actual template for it. Here it is, and this is worth copying somewhere you'll see it every day. I'm working on this larger task for this audience. They need whatever my output enables. With this in mind, here's the request. 4 blanks. The larger task. The audience. What your output makes possible for them. And then, only at the end, the actual request. Fill in those blanks every single time, and Fable connects your small ask to the bigger picture, instead of inventing its own reason why you might be asking. Watch it map onto the report example, the larger task, prepping a 5-minute update. The audience, non-technical investors. What the output enables, their decision about whether to fund the round. And then, with all of that in mind, summarize the report. The original 2-word ask is still there. It just moved to the end, with the entire reason stacked in front of it. And this works everywhere, not just reports. Writing an email? Say who it's going to and what you need them to do after reading it. Building a proposal? Say who signs off on it and what would make them say yes. Planning your week? Say what actually has to be true by Friday. Context first, request last, every single time. It's a difference between telling a taxi driver, head north, versus telling them, I need to be at the airport by 6. Both get the car moving, only one gets you where you're actually trying to go. So now your prompts are short and they carry meaning. One problem left, and it's a big one. Fable will do more than you asked, every time. Which brings us to tip number 3. Tell Fable when to act and where to stop. You have to set boundaries. Fable is the most capable AI model in the world right now. Hand it a hard task and a single request will run off and gather context, do the work, and verify its own output, all on its own. That power is the whole point. It's also the new problem. Here's the story. Ask Fable to look into a billing bug in an automation. It diagnoses the bug perfectly, genuinely perfectly. And then it keeps going. It starts rewriting everything around the bug to prevent what it calls the whole class of issue, which sounds impressive, and honestly is impressive, but it's not what was asked. And a rewrite that big will probably break other things on its way through. It's like asking someone to fix one squeaky door and coming home to find them remodeling the entire room. Beautiful work, wrong job. And here's the thing. This is not the model misbehaving. This is the model being exactly as smart as advertised. It can do so much that it will try to do a lot, unless you draw the lines. The smarter the model, the clearer your boundaries need to be. That's the trade. So what do boundaries actually look like? Anthropic's documentation recommends drawing 2 explicit lines in your prompt, a stop line and a go line. 2 lines. That's the whole system. The stop line works like this. When you describe a problem, make it clear the job is the diagnosis, not the fix. Let Fable investigate, report its findings, and then wait for your approval before it touches anything. You stay the decision maker. It stays the expert. The go line is the opposite edge. Once Fable has enough information to act, it should act and hand you one recommendation, not a survey of every option it considered, one answer it stands behind. And you need both, because each line kills a different failure. Without the stop line, Fable does too much, like our room remodeler. Without the go line, it hedges forever, planning and listing options and never committing. Stop line kills the overreach. Go line kills the endless waffling. Together, Fable does what you actually want, and nothing else. Exact prompts again. Bad. Fix the login bug, because it will fix that bug, and then refactor a bunch of things around it and probably break something in the process. Good. Diagnose the login bug and report your findings. Don't change any code until I approve a fix. That's your stop line. Once you have enough information, give me one recommendation, not a list of options. That's your go line. Read that back. It's 3 sentences. Plain English. No magic words, no secret syntax. Just a clear job with clear edges. And you can hang those same 2 lines on anything. Rewriting your website copy. Reworking a budget. Cleaning up a messy folder of files. Diagnose first, report, wait for my yes. Then one recommendation, not a menu. Think of Fable as a brilliant new hire, genius level, and it's day 1, and they are so eager to prove themselves that they will reorganize your entire company by lunchtime if nobody stops them. You wouldn't call boundaries an insult to that person. Boundaries are just a clear job description. That's all you're doing here. You're not holding the model back. You're being ultra clear about what the job is. So let's recap the three, because together they're one system. 1. Give Fable your goal, not the steps. State the goal, state the constraints, delete the other 12 steps, and let it cook. 2. Give the reason, not the request. Larger task, audience, what the output enables, then the ask. One sentence of why beats 10 sentences of what. 3. Set the boundaries. A stop line so it waits for your approval. A go line so it commits to one recommendation. Clear job, clear edges. Old prompting was about controlling every step because the model couldn't be trusted to think. New prompting is about direction and boundaries because now it can. You bring the goal, the why, and the lines. Fable brings the thinking. Make these three changes and the quality jump is not subtle. From chaos to clarity, easy as pie. If this helped, hit like and subscribe. And tell me in the comments which of the three tips you're trying first: the goal, the reason, or the boundaries. There's a lot more coming on this channel. See you in the next one.